Oh man, that was a new intro. Y'all might have just got a sneak peek of something that I wasn't even
That's what
supposed to show yet.
I was like, what's that?
Yeah, so yeah, that's brand new. Kevin must be working on that one. So y'all got an early little glimpse of it right there. Since you've got me and Dawn running things tonight, we're gonna try to get it going here. Now, Dawn, you can't see comments, can you? Let's make sure we're live. Let me get the comments going.
Yeah, it says we're live.
All right, y'all sound off. Let us know you're there.
Or if you're
Everybody might be watching the football.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, that's where Jimmy and Casey are tonight. They're watching. I feel bad even asking. Who's playing?
Georgia and TCU.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so we got some comments here. We got Barb and Christy in the comments. Y'all watching the game? They're watching this game. So yeah, y'all bear with us because it's like I said, it's me and Dawn tonight. So what about this newest filming news, Dawn?
I don't know. I mean, we keep hearing different dates, like the 6th, the 13th, and now what? February 13th, and
that's what I've been telling people. It's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it changes every week, the information going out.
Mm-hmm. So nobody's seen or heard anything. I'm just wondering if it's pre-production and where they're executive producers, if they're like doing the theme music, or you know what I'm saying, before they do the filming. I don't know.
It's almost like they were scouting out locations late in the game, maybe, or something. You know what I mean? Like, and they were having to nail some stuff down. But I mean, that newest article. Let's see if I can bring it up here. But that newest article from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that wasn't any information that everybody else had. Like, that was from a website that tracks, you know what I mean, filming and stuff like that. So, I mean, there really wasn't any sources, is what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't anything official. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's hard. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, have they had any casting calls around there for walkers or anything?
Ooh, that's a good. Oh, you mean around here?
Yeah, because
no, I haven't seen any. No,
because wouldn't you think that they have them?
Definitely not. You would think so. Yeah, you would think they would have all kind of casting calls. And I mean, you would think they would use the same company.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of people commenting now. We got Anissa, Carol. What's up, Carol and Christy?
Hi,
yeah,
Chris.
For those of y'all just joining us, Jimmy and them watching the game, they left us hanging. So I think what we're going to do is here in a little bit, in a minute, watch some clips from the real ones, right? Real ones with Jon Bernthal.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Yeah, that podcast. It is really good. And I've tried to avoid watching the Norman ones. That way I could watch it with fresh eyes. You know what I mean? When we watch it. Because I've been wanting to watch it on here anyway, but I hadn't watched it yet. So there's one that's like 10 minutes and then one that's like 5. I'll have to pause it every now and then probably, but we'll play the majority of it. Not that I feel like Jon Bernthal wouldn't claim. I feel like he wouldn't claim you.
Yeah. Hey, we're giving him publicity.
Yeah, really. Yeah. There you go. Like he needs ours. But yeah, speaking of Anissa, she sent me a video, and I guess she posted on her reel too. I'll have to show it here in a minute. And the first thing I thought when I saw it, we were talking about it right before we went on, Don. The first thing I thought, for some reason, my mind went straight to filming, like they were going to do a flashback or something like that, or I don't know. And then she had said that it was on a trailer. It looked like somebody had bought it, which that's pretty cool because I don't know. Did you see the pictures? It was autographed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yep.
talking about Rick's police car.
Yes.
Rick's police car. And Daryl's bike. There was one of Daryl's bikes too.
Mm-hmm.
Don, what would you do if you got that car? What would you do with it?
I'd probably try to find somebody in Sonoy, a business that would set it up so fans could take pictures with it.
That's what I was just about to say. No, what we should do, because they're bringing it to us. I know they are. I got a feeling. I think it's coming to us, the car.
Coming to who? Sonoy or?
No, to the Dead Truth podcast. They're sending it to us. But it would be cool if somebody bought it and took it to all the cons.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe when it's not at the cons, put it somewhere in Sonoy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But they'd have to put some kind of guard on it because people would probably take the hubcaps and everything else off of it.
See, that would be the only upside to bringing it to a convention. You'd be able to like rope it off and put, you'd have a lot more eyes on it all the time, especially with those autographs on it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I'd love to just have one of the decals or something.
Can you imagine how much money you can make of taking pictures of sitting on Daryl's bike?
Oh yeah, I mean, for the longest time there was about 2 or 3 businesses that's all they did at Walker Stalker Con and Wizard World. They had a whole little setup. One of them was the chopper. Then
Mm-hmm.
another business, I think it was actually the business that actually built Norman's bike for the show. They would bring around like a copy of it.
I think that's what they do with it. It should be enjoyed by the fans.
Yeah, I hadn't, and come to think of it, you're kind of new to the cons. I hadn't seen it at any of these. Have you? I hadn't seen either one of them. The guy well, actually, I shared it on my Facebook. The guy that has the chopper, he's trying to sell it right now.
Well, there's this guy that I follow on Instagram, and he followed me back, and his name is Rick Vic Pick or something, and he's making Rick's
Rick Vic Pick.
Yeah, something like that. He's making Rick's car, like the police car, and he's supposed to show it at the camp. It's his first appearance at the camp in May.
Oh, really?
And he's showing pictures of gradually doing everything.
Oh, that'll be cool. Yeah, I mean the replicas are awesome too. I used to love the RV
Mm-hmm.
that used to come to all the cons, but yeah, I mean you wouldn't think that would be too hard to recreate. Just find yourself an old cop car and get the decals printed out.
Yep.
Let me see if I can bring up that video. Let's see. And this is video of the car in Sonoya today. And Anissa, let me know. It's cool she shared it. Anissa, you shared it on your Facebook, didn't you? I hope it's okay to share it. But I think it's a reel, so I think it is. Let's see. All right. Sorry, y'all. All right. I'm about to. There we go. All right. So this is footage of the car in Sonoya. Can you see it, Dawn?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I was trying to pause it right there. Yeah, man, I'd like to just have that decal or just a sticker like that, but I don't know. They might get you for impersonating a police officer.
I just wanted to set it in my driveway so I can go sit in it.
Yeah, I know. Just like you said, somebody should take it around to cons, but I wonder if it's going to like some collector, and I wonder what they paid for it. I wonder if this was on the AMC one.
I
Because you
heard.
can see right there's that's Jon Bernthal, and I think on the other side was Andrew, right?
Hmm. I heard that
Well,
Daryl's bike went for more than the car.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. But what was it? Was it Lucille that went for an insane amount?
Hmm. With the one
Yeah,
split in it, yeah.
yeah, I think that was the highest one. Well, let's see. Let's checking up with the comments here. She said it's a video from Daisy Colin. But yeah, as soon as she told me that, I mean, as soon as she showed me that, oh, Jimmy's on. What's up, Jimmy? You need to jump on here, man. Forget that football game. This is where it's at. Me and Dawn's having too much fun. But yeah, no. As soon as she said that, I thought, oh man, for some reason my mind went straight to filming, and then she was like, well, I think it was somebody that bought it.
Yeah.
So what do you got going on this week, Dawn? Anything interesting happening in the news? I know you know everything that's going on besides the film and stuff.
Not really. I haven't really seen anything. I've been working the past 5 days, so I haven't really been up
And
to
when does Dead City come out?
April.
Dang, that ain't very far, man. From what I hear, have you heard that they're done with it too?
Yes, they said it's wrapped up, and I read somewhere where they said that they signed on for a second season with them.
I hope so, because I mean, now it's pretty much a done deal that the Rick Grimes and Michonne one is going to be one season, right?
Yeah, and I'm mad about that.
I know, right? They made it. Did they? I mean, am I tripping, or did they make it seem like it was going to be like at least 3 seasons?
Well, the way Andrew Lincoln talked when they were at the Comic-Con, he was acting like it was longer than one season.
Yeah, I mean, I could have swore it was said that it was going to try to be 2 or 3 seasons.
Like, how can you get all that in 6 episodes?
Oh, and it's only 6 episodes.
Hmm.
I didn't know that either. And they're an hour.
I guess 45 minutes. Like,
Oh, that's kind of cheap, man. That sucks. I don't know how they're going to get all that in either. Because I mean, for me to be happy, I didn't get it in that final episode. For me to be happy with it, that's why I think they're going to be filming more in Atlanta because I want them to come back at the end and be, you know what I'm saying? Either whether they're dead or alive, like somebody needs to come back to Alexandria to to their group. You know what I'm saying? By the end of it.
yeah, I feel like, are they going to cross over to the Daryl series? Are they going to cross over to the Negan and Maggie series? Because that's what we want. We want everybody to join back up and see each other.
Oh, that's a good point. You just totally like hit on something I wouldn't even think about. I mean, if they're filming now, if they're starting to film in Georgia and then they're going close to the area, if not the same area that Dead City's been filming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called, right? No, Island of what is it?
It's Dead City.
Okay,
It was Isle of the Dead, and then they changed it.
gotcha. Yeah, so they're going to that same area. So what if it starts out around, around or in like a country setting of some kind, and then it goes to the city and they cross over in the second season of Dead City. You know what I mean? I mean, that would be cool.
And then they're saying that the Daryl series is supposed to be wrapping up before. I think it's supposed to come on in between Negan and Matt before the Rick and Michonne. The way they talk.
I don't know. I have no idea. But the Walking David here on YouTube says, yeah, I mean, I remember this too. They'd even said at one point it was going to be 3 movies. But they said because it wouldn't do well in theaters given the lower ratings, they decided to do 6 episodes. 3 2-hour-long movies turned into 6 1-hour episodes.
The thing is with the movies, they should have done that during season 6. They were going to do a movie.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. I guess I just never realized it was just 6 episodes. I mean, that's crazy. And that's in concrete. I hope, I mean, maybe it's not in concrete. Maybe if it does well.
Mm-hmm. But if they find each other and it's the end.
Yeah.
And why is the name Summit? Like, what does that have to do with?
Oh, that was what I was going to ask you next. That was my next question. So, I mean, here's the thing. That could be just the production name. They may not even have the name figured out yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't seen anything official on that. You know, like, Walking Dead has always had the most generic one, SF. I mean, other ones use, you know, a lot of them use abbreviations, but some of them use completely different, like, I don't know, different titles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like all the Avengers stuff uses like Figaro. I mean, you would look at that and say, "Oh, you know, they're filming for something called Figaro," when really it's, you know, Marvel. So I mean, that I don't know if that's just like the production name that they're using right now, or if that's going to be the name of the show. I kind of hope not.
The way they're talking, it's the name of the show.
Dang. Yeah, and so yeah, Daisy that took that video, she's in the comments right now. Thanks for sharing that with everybody. That's awesome. I wish I could have been down there. I was down there most of the weekend.
Did she get to talk to the people that had it?
Oh, good question. Yeah, did you get to talk to the people that were hauling the motorcycle in the police car? I want to know. Yeah, if they like bought it. Yeah, a lot of people were saying it's a production name so far. So that's what I kind of feel like too. I kind of feel like it's just a production name, hopefully, and they got something else, something else good. Because yeah, that don't work in there. That doesn't sound too great, but she hadn't answered yet. She said you're welcome. Yeah, I'd like to know if somebody bought that.
And I want to know. She asked them what they were going to use it for.
True.
She
said, let's see. She said she didn't see anyone, or yeah, she didn't talk to anyone, but there were 3 guys with Chris Twellman walking towards the car.
Maybe Chris knows.
He was probably just going to check it out too, man. I'd have been all over it. That's awesome that you got to see it though.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see it. I got to see it at the studio tour. When we did the studio tour, whenever you came around to the building that was the prison.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get to do that, did you? Yeah, when you came around to the building that was the prison, they had like the top of one of the guard shacks on the ground, and then right beside it they had Rick's car. But that was the areas where you weren't supposed to take pictures.
Right.
And I may have snapped a couple, but I never shared them. Let's see. She said JT was there. JT might have bought it.
JT's always there. He's always in the middle of everything.
You know, that's weird. I didn't see him all weekend. JT might have bought it. JT finds all kind of stuff. He's always got something new with him. So let me see. Let me bring this up. Which one do you want to watch, Don? I say we do there's one that's around 10 minutes long, and they discuss The Walking Dead. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the only other one that's a clip is the one about Howard Stern.
Right.
Did you watch? I watched that one.
Yeah.
I watched the one about Howard Stern. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Everybody's making. Oh yeah, Barbara, you're right. We did see all the cars on the studio tour. Yeah. Everybody's making a big deal about that, but I don't think he flat out said he hated him or anything. You know what I mean?
Right. Howard Stern's weird.
I like Howard. I used to watch that show all the time, but
Liking too.
I mean not watch it, listen to it.
Yeah, I used to watch him too, but he got a little weird there in the end.
Yeah, it's not as good anymore, definitely. Let's see. So I'm trying to pull it up here.
So for everybody, I don't know if they heard, this is the real ones with Jon Bernthal and his podcast. And he's interviewing some of the actors from The Walking Dead, and it really gets intense on some of the conversations.
Yeah, it's a really good podcast. Like I was surprised that I watch a bunch of different podcasts. One of my favorites is It's Always Sunny podcast about Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but this is slowly becoming one of my other favorites because yeah, he just does good interviews, and it's not always celebrities. Like what was it? He's had like some convicts on there and police officers and stuff like that. So it's not always, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just the same old, same old. So let's see. Carol said the one with him and Lauren Cohan was deep. I think Sarah Wayne Callies, right?
Yeah, Sarah Wayne Callies was really
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Was Lauren Cohan on there too? Oh, no, she said Sarah Wayne Callies. Okay, that's what I figured. All right, so I'm gonna start this. Like I said, I'm gonna have to pause it every now and then, and I do get ads. So if an ad comes up, we'll skip through it.
We spent those 2 seasons or whatever, you know what I mean, and like we were buddies, we were close, like we were friends. I think like there was one time, I can't remember what year it was, but like we went out in New York, and me and you kind of like we're like, oh, you're like for real. And like I remember like Steven had some trouble with the bouncer, and I went like dealt with this guy like you and me and like out on the road, man. And he has some like magical fucking times. I don't know, man. For me, like Scott is like, he is like legitimately a hero. Like he's like
who I love Scott.
Yeah, like talk about him a little bit, Scott Wilson.
First time I really did a scene with Scott. But Scott used to sneak into my trailer all the time, and he'd have a little flask. He'd be like, "Shut the door, get in here." He and I became really good friends. I just loved Scott. I think because I didn't know my dad as much as I'd have liked to. When I find guys that I really respect of that age, I stick to them. I did it with Chris Christopherson. Like I just like, I don't know what it is, and I just love him. And Scott was so open. He was so honest. Last time I saw Scott was at his house, at his house, and we were watching his In Cold Blood audition, and he's sitting there next to me. He can't speak very well, and we're sitting there watching. The room's totally quiet, and I looked over at him, and he looked over at me, and I go, "You're such a fucking asshole," and he just starts laughing, And I regretted not being able to come to his funeral, and he died right on the same day my daughter was born.
Oh, there's that. Hold on. Dang, that got deep quick.
Yes.
That came out hot. I was meaning to pause it, but I didn't want to pause it. Hold on, I'm gonna get it past the ad. Yeah, so man, him talking about Scott Wilson, that's crazy.
What I
Let
like
me
about them, they
see.
have intense relationships that are really close. And it's like what they built on screen and behind the scenes of friendships is what The Walking Dead did with the viewers too. And it trickled down from what they did.
Yeah, and I mean like Bernthal, he's just so I don't know, he's so cool, man. He's so like passionate, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like about his podcast. He interviewed Shia LaBeouf, and that was a really good interview too. I think that may have been the one right before Norman.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Jon Bernthal. He's something else. Yeah, Daisy's saying that the thing with Howard Stern was they got jealous because his wife is a fan of Norman, and he was sitting next to her,
Mm-hmm.
and she was head over heels. But I don't feel like Howard Stern. I don't know. I feel like it got blown out of proportion. I think Norman and Jon Bernthal were just kind of bullshitting around. I don't think they were. You know what I mean?
Norman don't care. He don't give a crap.
Right? Yeah. I don't think it got to him or anything. Let's see. So I'm gonna start this back up, and yeah, y'all just bear with us. I hope this isn't too boring or anything for everybody. We just kind of wanted to take a look at this with y'all. I hadn't seen this yet, like I was saying. I kind of been waiting to watch it with everybody else.
Yeah, and I couldn't go because we were in labor.
Dude, that's fucking heavy. I couldn't remember that now.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Wow.
And that's why I wasn't there.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
I have so many Scott Wilsons.
Oh yeah, I mean, and wait, man, like that dude could like, I mean, you and me were like getting after it back then, and like, that dude fucking, I mean, with
crushed
like,
us.
Crushed. It was like a fucking like hot joke. It would be like 4 a.m. You and me would be like stumble. I mean, just so disgusting and shame, and we would be like stumbling back, and Scott would just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go back," you know,
I'm
like
gonna go get
I'm gonna go get
clam chowder down the street at
He was
the
like, totally
casino.
fine, totally fine. Yeah.
He was the best.
One of a kind. And I know, like when Sarah was, did you?
Yeah, that's one of my. I don't know. Way back in the day, one of the first times that I ever like really interacted with a person from the show, like as far as just like running into him, was Scott Wilson. It was after one of the Walker Stalker cons way back in the day, and it was late. I just went to Waffle House and got like food at like midnight, and I was walking back to my hotel, and it was all right there by the convention, like kind of downtown area. And I walked by a bar, and he's just standing out there smoking a cigar. And you know, I mean, he was at the con and everything, and I think I had already like went to his table and bought a photo and an autograph. And I was just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he was like, "Hey," and shook my hand, and I lit up a cigarette, and we sit out there, and he had a flask. That's crazy. That's what made me think of it. He had a flask. I mean, he didn't give me none of it, but he had a flask that he just took out and started drinking and smoking smoking his big cigar, man. He was just so cool. But he was talking to me just like anybody else, and of course I was nervous as shit. You know what I mean? Like that was back in the day, like right when everything started to get big and like people were going to conventions and Walker Stalker started up, and like these people they still are larger than life, but back then it was like when you met one of them, I don't know, you didn't get that chance as often. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me see. Let me start this back up. Like I said, I got to pause it every now and then.
see that? I there on this.
I did, yeah.
thing. And like,
Yeah.
I know we like when she and I talked, we talked a little bit about Frank and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Man. Like, what's your thing on Frank? Like, how do you?
I didn't know Frank as well as you guys knew Frank.
Yeah.
I kind of came on. It was only 6 episodes, right? I came on number 3, and Frank didn't have the conversations with. He was like in love with you and Andy and Sarah. You guys were the group. So I didn't know him as well as you knew him. I just met him, and then, you guys went to Comic-Con, I believe, and it was announced while he was at Comic-Con, some crazy shady shit like that. I was bummed.
Yeah.
And I remember, working with him, and he was so in it. Like, I remember that at one point they were like, you need, I'm crawling under a car and I jump up behind T-Dog and all this stuff happens. And the makeup artist, he was like, Norman needs more dirt. And she's like, no, that matches. And he goes, ugh. Picks up grease off the ground and just wipes it across my face. And I was like, oh my God, I love you so much. And you remember back then, all I wanted.
Oops.
We were buddies. We were friends. I think like there was one time.
I don't know what happened. Hold on.
Loved Scott. I think because I.
Dang it. Sorry, y'all.
And I regret not being able to come to his. I have so many Scott Wilsons.
Morning, you and me would be like, we talked a little bit about Frank and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
in love with you and Andy and Sarah. You guys were the group, and I believe, and it was announced while he was at Comic-Con. Some crazy.
Last time, y'all.
Under a car and I jump up behind T-Dog and all this stuff happens, and the makeup artist, he was like, Norman needs more dirt. And she's like, no, that matches. And he goes, ugh. Picks up grease off the ground and just wipes it across my face. And I was like, oh my God, I love you so much. And you remember back then, especially, all I wanted to be was filthy. I was so dirty.
Yeah.
I would steal the dirt, take it back to my room and apply more to it when they weren't looking. Like, be like, you're so filthy. I was like, I want to smell you.
So, Dawn, how do you? I don't know. Do you think you would like the direction if Frank Darabont would have kept going?
Yes.
You think it would have been better?
Yeah, think about it. He directed The Green Mile and how emotional that movie is.
Oh, I mean, I don't think I have any doubt whatsoever that it would be a much better show if he was still with them. And, for the longest time, I avoided like watching stuff and reading stuff about, the different lawsuits and stuff like about Frank and stuff like that, because I don't know, I guess in the back of my mind, I didn't want it to taint, you know what I mean?
Mm.
To taint how I felt about everything. And I recently started reading some of the articles, watching some of the videos, and man, they kind of did him dirty.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I mean, it's obviously a reoccurring thing. Like Kirkman, he's having right now. They just announced a new lawsuit from him, didn't they?
I'm not sure, but I just think like Andrea would have been around longer. And a lot of the other characters, I don't think Carl would have been killed off. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, and you're right. Andrea she would have been around longer because, I mean, he worked with her on several other projects, and I'm sure he would have liked to kept her around a lot longer than
Dale
she was supposed to.
Dale wouldn't have died because he asked to be written off.
Yeah. Now Dale, I feel like we needed that one. Maybe not at that moment, but at some point. But I think Frank Darabont would have done it eventually.
Well, they said that I read somewhere where they said Herschel was supposed to die in season 2, and they replaced it with Dale because he asked to be written off.
It seems like I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I'm not 100%. So if that was the case, I wonder who would have gotten decapitated by the governor.
I don't know.
Because who was it in the oh man, I should know. I'm rereading them, but I'm not to that point yet. It was it Herschel in the it wasn't Herschel in the comics, was it?
I didn't read the comics.
I know, but I can't remember now. So, for some reason I'm wanting to say Tyrese, but I don't think that's right either. I might have to look it up because it's gonna bug me. But yeah, no, I think it would be a totally different show.
I just feel like him in the beginning is what made the show so magical, and that's where everybody loved the characters and they bonded with the characters, and that's why we stuck through it when Scott Gimple came in, because we stuck, because we already cared about these characters, because Frank made us care about these characters.
Yeah, no, the whole character aspect of it. I mean, that's what really pulled me in from the get-go.
Because you cared if Rick found his wife and son. You wanted him to find them. And then when he found him, he finds his buddy and finds out his buddy's sleeping with his wife. So it made it like a little drama.
Oh, I looked it up and they already answered in the comments. I should have known better. Yeah, it was Tyrese. That's what I thought. I thought it was Tyrese. So I wonder if they would have, killed Herschel in that manner as Dale, who would have taken his spot.
I feel like Herschel's character had a more effect than Tyrese's character would at that moment.
Oh, definitely, because he would have been brand new to the scene. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In the comics, like I said, I'm rereading them right now. I think Jimmy is too, because they did the color ones. But I'd forgotten like how much of a role Tyrese was in the comics. He's basically like the Daryl of the comics for the first, I don't know, I would say, I don't know when he dies, but 80 issues or so.
Yeah, because what Daryl's character was made up in Sasha's.
Yeah, Daryl, Sasha, there's quite a few. Of course, Merle.
Yeah.
There's quite a few that they made up just for the show. And then there's ones that are like completely different. Like Sadiq, he was completely different from his character in the comics. I mean, the one that they nailed was Jesus. I think we've talked about it before. They got Jesus and Negan down to a T.
Mm-hmm.
But if we would have had Frank Darabont, if we would have had his pick for Rick, we've talked about this too. We wouldn't have had Andrew Clutterbuck.
Nope. We'd have had, what is it, Thomas Paine?
Thomas Jane.
Jane.
Yep. And I mean, I don't know.
I don't think he could do it. He was doing something else.
Yeah. And the thing is I couldn't imagine anybody else being Rick Grimes, but Thomas Jane does have the look. I don't know.
Well, if you watch The Mist and the way he carries around his son, it reminded me of Rick carrying around Carl.
Yeah, like I think he would have been good. But I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. That would be like in a dimension in the multiverse or something where that happened. I wouldn't even know.
Right.
So let's see. Let me start this back up.
I just loved it.
Yeah.
I'm a dude. Yes.
Yeah.
But Frank to work with, he was so inspirational, and it's true what Sarah said about the scripts. We got 6 scripts right off the bat.
Well, yeah. Less than a year before the start, I was like in jail. I was like, that show like saved my life. So for me, I was like, the fact that you gave me this shot was like I'd never had a big gig for me. So I was like, but you just got your fucking star on the Hollywood fucking Walk of Fame, man. In the last second, like I was going to make the speech for you, you know what I mean? Which was like fucking crazy. And I called Sarah like the night before. I called everybody, but I called Sarah and I was like, man, like what should I say about Norman? And she's like, do you know what you said to me? Like at the end of season 1 about Norman? I was like, what? You were like, I think he's allergic to acting. He's allergic to bullshit. He's allergic to pretension. Because I used to say this thing about you where like your acting style was just like bursts of authentic. Like I would be there like trying to like kill somebody, and then I would like look over and see the way that you were doing it, and it was just like so fucking real, you know? And it was like these bursts of just like absolute inarguable authentic moments, right? Like, are you aware of that? Do you feel like that?
No, I mean, I guess there's certain things I don't give a fuck about. Maybe I got beat up too much as a kid, and I don't know. My first job, right? I was working at a motorcycle place in Venice, right? Called Dr. Carl's Hog Hospital. Got fired from that job. So I ended up in the play turned into a movie, and I didn't know what I was doing on the first movie, and my dad was dying, right? And there's a scene in the movie where he comes out in a wheelchair and he kind of stands up out of the wheelchair and gives me a hug, and it's this big emotional moment. And the director was like, "How do you want to prepare for this?" And I go, "Well, like, what are my options? Like, what do you do?" I had no idea what I was doing. We talk for a second. He gives me a phone. I call my dad. He can barely talk on the phone. I hang up the phone. They call me. Cried so much that one of the crew members said, at lunch, we're in Maine, right? And everyone ate in a tent. He goes, I didn't go to lunch. I went and took a little nap in my little room. And he said, nobody spoke. Like, that's how good that scene was. Everyone was just sat there and quiet. And I was like, oh, that's what this is. So I didn't learn to act, I kind of learned as I got jobs. I think if it would have been the other way, if I'd have gone to acting school or something like that, I think it would be different. I think I feel like everything sort of works the way it's supposed to work, but
like there's something about it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. That's why I love doing background work like every now and then, because like you don't realize how like passionate, and I don't know how much it takes from an actor. People think that crap's easy. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to be an extra and everything. That ain't nothing. But to watch the actors get up there and just become a totally different person within the word action. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's something to really witness. That's why I try to encourage everybody. Don, you should get in on it too. Just submit for something in your life, for background. No matter where you live, there's probably something going on somewhere, or just take a trip to Georgia. Take a trip to Georgia for a week and like plan ahead and submit and try to come down and be in something. You've got plenty. I mean, it's real easy to do. I know I've told y'all before, but you just go to Facebook, you find the casting companies, and you like their page, and they'll put out wanted posts that say needed, a tall, redheaded, goofy guy for next week. You know what I mean? And you just take a picture and send it to the email, and you might get to be a background extra. And that's the cool thing, is you get to experience all this, even if you just do it one time.
I feel like Norman is like plays himself almost as Daryl. I think that's
I do too. And you're probably thinking about the same spot in the interview that I kind of thought that when he was talking about getting beat up. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he plays himself. That's why it's easy for him to play Daryl, because I've seen him in other things, like the one movie with his girlfriend.
What? Yeah, I don't know what was the name of that?
Something I can't remember. I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. Like, I didn't think he did good in that movie. I'm like the actor, what he portrayed didn't fit him. Daryl, like, he's typecast. He's Daryl. That's him.
Yeah, like I would like to know that. I'm sure he's been asked that before, but like I would like to know did he have any say so in how some of it was portrayed? You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure he did, since it was a character that was made up. But he said, I seen him on some kind of interview, and he said that he would play Daryl as long as he could. And like I said, I think that's why, because that's him.
Yeah, you can definitely see Daryl in just this interview alone, just in what he was just talking about. And like you said, I'm sure he had some kind of, I would like to see, like, I don't know, maybe a test script of the character or a description of the character before they casted him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's easy for him to make Daryl who he is, since he didn't have the comic book to read information about his character.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Great character too. Who would have ever thought? I mean, when I started watching it, and we were first introduced to Daryl and Merle, I thought they were just like cannon fodder. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially back then, neither one of them were really, really big. I mean, they were big, but not super, super big like they are now.
Daryl's the heart of TWD. He's always in the emotional scene. He's always in the right place, in the right spot. Like, if you notice, he's the one that was mourning over Beth. He's there for Carol. He's the one with the heart.
Yeah, and Anissa, you're exactly right. He did audition for Merle.
Mm-hmm.
He auditioned for Merle, and they liked him so much they made up Daryl just for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. When I get people, the number one question people always ask me on tours every time is, "Who's my favorite character?" You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm usually the type to like go against the grain a little bit and like not be into the most popular. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But with Daryl, there's no denying it. Like I'll name off some characters, and then I'll be like, but I gotta say, Daryl's just always stuck with me, even though he went through his little phase where he just grunted all the time. But if you go back to those first 3 to 4 seasons, God, that's some good Daryl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's see. Let me get this going again. We got to finish this out.
Intentionality, right? Like there's about like if you go to acting school, it's like, hey, I really want to do this. Right. They want to like, be a star, or they want to be an actor. They want to go be on stage. Like you didn't. Like
I'm still not sure I do.
Right. Yeah. So like, tell me about that.
Another thing, I think if I had to do a lot of the stuff I feel like you're told you have to do, especially in a place like this, I don't think it'd hold my interest. I think I'm very aware of time. I'm very aware of mortality. I'm very aware of wasting energy on things, and I don't want to waste any time, which is probably why I do so much shit. I want to learn stuff. I want to make real connections. The Star is awesome. I can't believe I had a star in all it was fucking. But will I talk about it again? Probably not, unless somebody brings it up. The acting thing, I'm still learning about it, which is, I think, what's holding my interest. There's something about being on this TV show this long where people see me age in real time that I find kind of interesting. Yeah. I'm always looking for those friendships like we had starting that show. I'm facing that, but I don't, it's not that I don't give a fuck, because I do give a fuck, but there's a lot of things I think that I don't give a fuck about it as well. I remember being in, I think it was junior high, and I'm at another new school, and I'm walking home down an alley, and there's this group on the side, and there's this group on the side, and there's a bunch of guys and a bunch of guys, and I'm walking down the middle, and it's some annual fight they have, and I'm walking down, and they go, "Stage, which side are you fighting on?" And I went, "Fuck you both." And I walked down, and they all beat me up, and they got along great after that. fuck you and fuck you. And I think I still kind of have that attitude.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
Like, where do you think?
Yeah, definitely Don.
Mm-hmm.
He's just Daryl.
Mm-hmm. He is Daryl.
That's all there is to it. I mean, because that's exactly what would you think Daryl would do in that situation?
Same thing.
So let's see how long we got left here. Y'all in the comments, y'all liking this? Okay, y'all want to finish it out? I hope so, because we're about to. We only got like a minute left.
Sense of like mortality and time. Like, where do you think that comes from?
I think it comes from my dad dying. My mom used to sell coffins, right? She called them eternal beds. So I went to a lot of funerals. Yeah, I'm just aware of it. I'm aware of, like, time goes really quick. I don't really bullshit very much. I'm not good at small talk. I don't like to go out at night and put myself in a situation. And when I used to, like when you and I would go out, I was first one that was obliterated. And it's the only way that I could have small talk with people is I just get trashed. But then, once I started working, once I had a little girl, I just stopped it all.
All right. So yeah, we need to share a link to our Facebook. On YouTube, I'll link it in the description to Real Ones with Jon Bernthal. But I mean, if you just look it up, Real Ones, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen that clip. But I don't know. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's the first time I'd seen it. Had you watched it before, Dawn?
I watched the part with him talking about Herschel, but not at the end about his dad and stuff. And I didn't realize his mom sewed coffins and that he went to a lot of funerals.
Yeah, I know. That's weird. That reminds me of My Girl. Remember that movie?
Yeah, but think about it. Like, what did he do when he was with Beth in the funeral home? He just jumped in the coffin. See, he's Daryl.
I'm telling you, I think he wrote all that.
And I don't know if you've seen the one on Jon Bernthal, but he talked and he said that right before he got the Walking Dead role, he was somewhere and he beat the crap out of some guy.
I saw the video, but I didn't watch it. So what happened?
He beat the crap out of this guy and he thought he was going to die. The police came and like, if this guy dies, we're going to have to take you to jail. And he's like, I prayed. He's like, to God, he's saying, like, if I get through this, I'm going to straighten up, blah, blah, blah. Just give me another chance. And he said that's when he got the role of The Walking Dead and his whole life changed completely. So it's kind of interesting story.
I could see that. I mean, he just reminds me of one of those guys that's like super nice, super enthusiastic, but also would kick your ass in a second.
But the guy bothered him. He didn't like go out and search for it. The guy started.
No, that's what I mean. Like if you were messing with him, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't think he's the type of guy. Like, I think he wouldn't go out looking for trouble. But I feel like if you were to mess with him, I mean, he's a freaking Punisher, for God's sake. You can't portray that character and not have a little bit of a temper in you.
Right.
And Shane, I mean, as much as I hated him, I mean, I love to hate him. Shane's one of my favorite characters too. Like, I mean, I wish they could have stretched him out a little longer. Maybe no, I don't know. That's hard to say. I feel like he needed to go pretty soon because in the comic books, he dies within like might be the first issue. If not, it's one of the first 3. He dies early on.
They were going to kill him off in season 1, but his character stayed all the way on 2.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I'm glad that they at least stretched it out some. So, like, I've never gotten into it about the whole Andrea deal. We were talking about it earlier with Frank Darabont. Do you think they wrote her? Do you think they killed her off because of their relationship?
Well, if you watch the Sarah,
Oh, they talk about it.
they kind of, she feels like that her character got wrote off, and so does Shane quicker than what they should have because they were siding with Frank.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I mean, she got really upset, right?
Yes.
Because what? She thought that she had a lot longer.
Well, they said she signed an 8-year contract.
Well, dang, if she signed that, I wonder if they still had to pay her for 8 years. You would think so.
It depends on what the contract said.
That might be.
I asked her at the Dragon Con, I said, I really wish you would have stayed. I wanted your character with Rick. And she said, I did too, but I had a bad boss. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Oh yeah, and by the way, you can meet her this year at the camp. That's a really big get.
Mm-hmm. And she's amazing to me. Like, everybody hates Andrea and Lori, and they got a lot of slack. And when I went to her panel at Dragon Con, like, she talked about how much hate they got, like death threats. It was ridiculous. She said that her and Sarah were like the most hated.
See, that's just crazy to me. Like, okay, so I don't like those characters in particular, but I don't know. I don't think we're supposed to like them, and like they seem really cool, especially Sarah Wayne Callie. She was really nice. I hadn't spent much time around Lori Holden, but Sarah Wayne Callie is super nice.
Like, I was like really nervous to meet her because I was afraid, because I liked her so much, that she was going to disappoint me. You know what I mean? You know how you have this vision. Yeah, she like topped it 100%. And like, she made everybody else a big fan of her that was with me.
Yeah, I remember. That was at Fandemic, right?
Dragon Con.
Oh, Dragon Con.
Yeah, she's amazing to me, and she's worth it. And she's a very positive person.
Yeah, so if any of y'all are coming to the camp, or if you're not, come to the camp so you can.
She is worth it, guys. She really is. You might hate her character, but she is amazing to meet in person. And she's been on The Boys, Miss. She's done a lot of things.
Oh, I forget about that. I forgot she was on The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I met her, that's probably because I've already got her autograph on a print and on an action figure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure I'll meet her at the camp. But when I go through a line at the camp, I want to get a boys print autograph.
Right.
Just like I want to get Ross, I want to get an Invincible one from Ross, an Invincible one from Kyrie too. I get just about everybody. If I could run in, yeah, there's a bunch. You got Sasha, or
Sonequa.
Yeah, and who else was on? There's quite a few that were on Invincible. Well, Steven Yeun, he was the main character.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be my next mission at the cons, is to get all the Invincible characters I can that are on both shows. Get a print from each one.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Walking Dead one, so that'll give me something to do. Yeah, and this is talking about some people can't separate the fact from fiction. And then she's talking about Josh McDermott having to leave social media, and that was the worst that I ever saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if people just at the time, when Lori died and Andrea, like, I don't know if people weren't, like, it hadn't blew up to the size it was whenever Josh McDermott started getting all the hate. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because he turned on Rick in the group and was with Negan, so everybody wanted to hate him.
I know, but they went after like him, like they were being totally, just crazy.
It's sad, because I would love to meet him. I haven't met him.
Yeah, he's super nice. He's one of my favorites. I have a feeling. Let's see. Will I am both. Steven, do you do posters or the 8x10s for autographs? I do the 8x10s. I think that's what you do too, Don, isn't it? Just the little prints. I like those. You can frame them real easy. And
Well, if I decide to go to Fandemic in Atlanta, I'm gonna be getting Chandler to sign this right here.
oh yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I had a feeling that McDermott might come to this pandemic. I was hoping.
Well, oh, this is the interesting thing. Okay, so they added the directors on the Michonne and Rick series, and one of them was Michael Cutlets. I found it interesting that he's going to be in Atlanta February 24th through the 26th. So I'm wondering if they said February 13th is when they started filming, that he's going to be directing one of those episodes in Atlanta. I'm just trying to put two and two together.
I don't know. Like I said, that the news around this, the filming and the start and the locations, like I haven't seen a production that's been all over the place like this one. I don't think ever. Like like we were saying, it feels like there's something different every week.
Right.
And I mean, just last week, I'd heard through the grapevine, I know you heard it too, Dawn, that they weren't even going to come to Georgia.
Right.
Some people were saying that, which I mean, I don't think that was ever the case. I think that it just, I don't know, it just changed so much, but I think they've got to film part of it in Georgia, whether it's the beginning or the end. I mean, they could be filming out of order. I don't know.
Do you think that they're scared to say anything because there's going to be a big bunch of fans there? I just don't see it this time of year.
I think that, I think if they do it, they'll try to get as much out of the studio as they can. Either that or find some fields like out in the, you know what I mean? Like some of those fields around Sonoy, somewhere where you can be way off of the road and not have to deal with anything, because yeah, I think that probably is a big factor.
Right.
Because I ain't gonna lie, if I hear of them filming somewhere, I'm at least riding by there. I'm gonna just, I mean, I just want to see it. You know what I mean? I won't give out no spoilers or anything or try to like, but I might park and watch for a second. If they even, I have, like I said, I have a feeling they'll keep it pretty covered.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Negan and Maggie series wasn't that covered. It was way out, just everything.
Oh, that's true. Now that would be sweet, man, because I just want to run into Andrew Lincoln on the street.
But don't you think JDM's more popular than Andrew Lincoln right now?
I don't know. I mean, they're probably about the same.
But that's what I'm saying. He was wide open filming. People were walking up to him.
Yeah, I'm saying I hope he walks around town some just off duty.
Me too. So I can fangirl.
All right, so let's see. Let me see if I can figure out how to close this out here, guys. Well, first I need to try to run. Let me see. Let me see if I can bring up. Oh, wait, here we go. Make sure I don't play something that.
The sponsors.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. Sorry, y'all. Like I said, me and Dawn are just kind of winging it tonight. That's why we picked just kind of like having a little watch party. All right, so our sponsors, let's see.
We have Walking Dead Tours and Events, Auto Wraps, Plus, Water Tower Tours, Abraham's Army, The Camp, Survive the Night, Woodbury Shop, and then the funnyshirts.org.
Yeah, our shirts. I still got to order all of y'all's. I want everyone. I want one of each.
And then we like to thank our Patreons, Melissa and Ben Gilbert, Barbara Katz, Eliza Jones, Carol Jameson, our very own Casey, and me.
Yeah, thank y'all. Oh, I just realized they got all these little things over here that I could have been using, but we ain't got them with us. I look at us, Don. We're learning how to do it.
You are, not me.
Now, let's see which one of these outros is the right one. Yeah, we appreciate everybody. Like I said, I know tonight was a little bit different, but we figured we would just kind of come and hang out and chill with y'all instead of just not having a show all together. So hope y'all liked watching that interview.
Yeah, and hopefully Georgia won.
Oh yeah, do we know yet? Is it over?
I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll have to find out. Maybe, I don't know. I have to go in and check. I'm sure we would have heard by Jimmy now. He probably would have popped in if they won. If it's over, it probably ain't good.
I'm sure Georgia won.
Yeah. All right. See y'all. Appreciate it. We'll be back. We should all be back next week, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all next Monday at 9. Thank you.